dear friends, this time we're going to make a shrug, and it's a similar pattern as what we have for the washcloth, but it has a fancier edge there. And I'm using a number 4 worsted yarn, and I'm using circular 10.5 knitting needles, and they are 26 inches long. So this is going to be very pretty. So let's go on how to start this. It's going to take 4 of these skeins to make the shrug, and that means it's going to be 2 for the increased part and 2 for the decreased part. And each of these skeins has 270 yards. So if I multiply that by 2 is 540 yards, but I really only used 532 just to keep it safe. And that means I have on my needle 198 stitches. So of course it depends on the yarn and how you knit and all that, how many stitches you end up with, because it's really not that important. And of course, since this is a square, it means all sides measure the same, and so this side, or these 2 sides, measure 37 inches each. So just so you have an idea of how much the measurement is, more or less. I'm going to cast on 5 stitches. I make my slip knot and do that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I knit the first 2 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is row number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next row I am going to knit 2 stitches, and that middle one I'm going to knit from the front of the stitch without taking that stitch off. Go and pick up the back of that same stitch and knit it, and knit the last 2, and now we have 6 stitches. So now we're going to row number 4, we're going to knit with the 6 stitches. After this, you're going to start with your increased rows, and what you do is that you're going to knit 3, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, and knit to the end of the row, and now you have 7 stitches. And you do that again, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, and knit to the end of the row, and now you have 8 stitches. So row number 7, you're going to knit 3, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, knit to the end of the row, and now you have 9 stitches. See, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And you do that once more. 1, 2, 3, yarn over, and knit to the end of the row, and now you have 10 stitches. So once you have your 10 stitches, we're going to do another little design there. You're only going to increase 1 stitch on every row. So here is where we start the fancy stuff, and we do 1, 2, 3, yarn over, knit 2 together, 2 stitches together, and yarn over, and then you knit to the end of the row. And you do that at the beginning of every row, and we'll do that again. So what you do is do 1, 2, 3, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, and knit all the way to the end of the row. And that's how you do your edge design. So I'm going to show you here how that is done, which is the same thing. It's exactly the same thing, and you keep going until you have almost to the end of my second bowl, and I'll tell you how many yards I'm using. But you know, since I'm going to be using 4 bolts of yarn, I don't want to go through the second one, because what if I don't have the same yardage in all of them? So I do 1, 2, 3, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, and then keep knitting until the end of the row. And that's how this is done. Once you added all your stitches, you need to start taking off, and you want it to look the same way. You want to have those 2 yarn over, see, and you have them here too. So you are going to take off at the beginning of each row, and this is what I have, and this is the way you do that. Do this at the beginning of each row. So you're going to knit 2 stitches, you're going to knit these 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, and knit 2 stitches together. So now you have 7 stitches, 2, 4, 6, 7, and you knit all the way to the end of the row. You do that on every row and all until you have 13 stitches left. So now I have my square, and what you want to do is that you want to fold that in half. So it's going to become a rectangle, and you want to sew about 2/3 of the way up. So if I have 18, I'm going to sew until I have 6 inches left for the arm. This is where your arm is going to go through. So I'm going to sew these 2 together until I have 6 inches left. Okay, I have my 13 stitches, and we're going to do this row again. So you knit 2, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together. Now we have this 7, 2, 4, 6, 7, and you knit to the end of the row. And now I have 12 stitches. So now you're going to knit 2 stitches and knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, and knit 2 stitches together. So now that's it, because that's the yarn over from the time before, and you don't have time to add another one. So there we have it, and now we have 11 stitches, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So let's do another one. You have 1, 2, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, and knit to the end of the row. And now you're going to have 10. And now we're going to knit 2, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, and knit to the end of the row. And now we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So now we're going to knit 2, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, and knit to the end of the row. And now we have 8. So now you're not going to have enough space for the to knit together. So let's do this. You're going to knit 2 and knit 2 stitches together. And that's it, because that's the yarn over from the time before. So you're only going to knit to the end of the row. And now we have 6. And then 1, 2, knit 2 together, and knit 3, so now we have, until we have 5, so we have 3, 6, 1, 2, knit 2 stitches together, and you knit to the end of the row. And now we have 5 stitches, and now we're going to knit those 5 stitches. So the first one, once you have your 5 stitches, the first one you're going to pass as if to knit. Do not knit it. The reason is you don't want this finishing to be too squared out, so pass that one, knit to the end of the row, and now you're going to bind off, pass that first one without netting it, knit the next one and pass that one over, because we're binding off, pass that one over, and that's the last one. And that's it. We have finished the shrug. You're going to weave in all your ends, and I'll come back to show you how to sew this together. So I already sewed this, and this is where the arm is going to go through, and you do the same thing on the other side. And I'll take some pictures on how to wear this. And thank you very much for watching, and please share us with your friends, and like our page and subscribe, and I'll take some pictures of this. Thank you very much.